For RCR TV, I'm Sean Kinney, and I'm joined today by Dr. Derek Peterson, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Boingo Wireless. So Derek, thanks for taking some time. It's great to catch up with you. It's been a little while, and obviously a lot of changes in the telecom networking community, and hopefully we'll get to touch on a few of them. I know that network convergence is a really big emphasis right now in industry discussions. And it kind of fits into this vision of 5G, sort of a network of networks that covers everything from your IoT to your mission critical services. So this concept of blending network topologies, I know that's something Boingo has a lot of experience with. So what's your take on how this convergence trend is going to play out in the short and the long term?
Well, thanks for having me. And I think that convergence is essential, as you know, and as you shared. Boingo has been doing convergence of networks for a long time with our Wi-Fi and our DAS deployments. In fact, about a year ago, I ended up sharing a Convergence 1.0 vision, which was really just about putting Wi-Fi side by side with DAS as well as small cells. And we have venues today where you will find this Convergence 1.0 where we've deployed Wi-Fi, DAS, and small cells into a single large venue. So we've got that already in Convergence 1.0. What we're going to see in the next couple of years is actually the Convergence 2.0, which is starting to have all of these different networks coexist together, and then smart decision-making being done by the network so that you can end up utilizing both the Wi-Fi network or the DAS or the small cell network together to produce better outputs and meet those challenges. And so a big part of that we're working on is getting the NFV instrumentation out there in all of our different venues. So these edge computing devices that will allow you to do this convergence that we're working towards in the next phase of network convergence and the 5G.
So really the big transition between Convergence 1.0 and 2.0 is maybe taking away some of the management from engineers and putting it into the hands of algorithms and data automation, right?
Yeah, it's all that mono stuff you see that we're talking about in a lot of the different groups, this orchestration of the different networks through software-defined networks, through better policy control, through edge computing devices that really get into the intricacies of what's happening at the edge to be able to make the appropriate changes in the decisions. And we at Boingo have been involved in that for a while. We actually sit on the board, for example, of the NIA, which is the new IP agency, which is one of the many different organizations out there that is trying to really push the industry forward to get these networks to coexist and converge together.
Yeah, a lot of my coverage is focused on DAS and other in-building wireless solutions. And in my conversations with the folks that work in these traditional areas, they say that we're not really even installing standalone DAS anymore. It's more of a converged communication platform. And maybe it's time to come up with a new acronym perhaps. But if you kind of take that and put it into a large building, your DAS, your Wi-Fi, your small cell, your automation systems, your point of sale, how do you, in coming up with that deployment, address such a wide range of planning, integration, optimization, and deployment challenges? It just seems like a lot of touch points to make it work together.
Well, I think that you said it right there when you said it's a platform, right? You're setting up a communication platform. So you have to establish your platform first, and a lot of the design is going to be the same. At the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get antennas and different types of antennas that are going to end up taking low power feeds and then adjust those low power feeds every once in a while, and then other stuff where you need high throughput. And so trying to get the right antenna at the right place and powering the individual with those is key. And so you need to set up that platform, and the design is going to be the same. You still need power, you still need backhaul, you still need front haul is what we're calling it. And some of these terms are hard because what's backhaul, what's front haul anymore, and how do the two of them coexist as you start moving the radio units around from the data center to other data centers or right at the edge, all of it's going to change. And so you really just got to build that overall platform. And like you said, it's a communication platform. We do need a new term for this.
Well, maybe we can open that up later. But, another big aspect of this that we're seeing, particularly with, release 13 and 14 and advancements in LAA, ELAA, is this blurred line between licensed and unlicensed spectrum. So one part of that I want to discuss with you is I know Boingo is a relatively new member of the Multiplier Alliance. They just released their 1.0 specification, which is a technical overview of standing up a private LTE network in all unlicensed spectrum. So obviously that's a compelling proposition given the costs of obtaining licensed spectrum. But in terms of moving from the 1.0 specification through trial and commercialization, what's the niche that you think Multiplier is going to be able to carve out?
So I apologize for the noise behind me, but I guess one of the key things is that a couple quick things. We've been a part of Multiplier Alliance since the beginning. We were the first operator to join it, and the reason why we joined is because we do have those challenges that a lot of the network operators have today. Being a neutral host operator, trying to put in systems that serve the venue needs as well as the carrier needs, as well as the consumer needs, is our biggest challenge. And so there's locations where you're going to go try to deploy a DAS or a small cell network, and it just doesn't make sense. The DAS network may be too costly. You're not going to have the room to be able to put in a large data center to be able to support all the different equipment required for the baseband units. Small cells might not make sense because given today, you might have to have in all the different bands and the aggregated and our carrier aggregation to get more data out there. You're going to have so many different nodes that it may not make sense in a venue. So there's a large set of venues out there, enterprise, rural venues and such, where Multiplier is going to make sense because you can deploy a single small cell that will meet the carrier needs, the venue needs, and the consumer needs, and give you the RF that you need for that individual to be able to be connected and that venue to be connected without all the challenges of that go with some of the other technologies that you have to bring to bear. For us, it's all about having as many tools in the toolbox so that we can deploy the right network at the right time and the platform so that as Multiplier comes along, and we're working right now with Multiplier release 1.1, and release 1.1 is all about IoT. So that's another key thing is how do all of these machine-to-machine devices connect? And that's becoming more and more important for venues and consumers. And so those kind of things really make a nice niche for Multiplier to be able to add to the toolbox and the toolkit that a neutral host provider has to be able to solve all the different needs of all of our different customers.
Yeah, that's a great point about Multiplier, that in an IoT deployment, it would give you the reliability of an LTE network, but in terms of low ARPU devices, it would really make the business case work relying fully on unlicensed spectrum. So yeah, that's really interesting. I wanted to also ask you regarding LAA and Multiplier. In the early days there was a lot of fairly heated debate about fair coexistence, fair sharing. At this point, do you think that those technical challenges have fairly been addressed?
I think that, there's always concern whenever you're introducing something new in the technology landscape. There's players who have built businesses around those technology landscape that you have to be concerned about, who are worried about, something causing friction in their existing systems and causing problems. The good thing is we've always, as an industry in the telecommunications industry, found ways to solve those problems. And I think, with some of the changes, there was a joint group that we participated in, the LTE coexistence with LTE Forum and the WFA, and we were part of that. And what we did is we found a reasonable way for us to be able to coexist in the same spectrum. And that's really what you're dealing with. Shared spectrum going forward is going to be essential. There are a lot of bands out there that are available. There's reserved for military or for government that are very lightly used, if at all used, that we need to figure out how to solve the shared spectrum problem. Things like the CBRS Alliance and others that are addressing these needs in other spectrums like 38 and 60 and some of these other spectrums. It needs to be solved. And I think with moving forward with NFV, moving forward with software-defined networks, moving forward with this, with us pulling in that data and being able to make real-time decisions about radio use, RF use, as well as the backhaul and everything else, I think it's going to lead us towards a shared spectrum model that's going to be better for the industry. So these new, we're kind of in this coexistence 1.0 with, throwing with LTU. It was coexistence 1.0. It's like, let's go try to get Wi-Fi and LTE to play together, utilizing non-standardized forms of coexistence, like CSAT. But we've moved forward, and with LAA, we're coming up with some new technologies that allow that coexistence to happen. And let's be realistic. The government started playing with that with DFS channels in 5 gigahertz years ago, and we found ways to be able to make DFS work. So we can make other technologies work together. It just takes us working together, and I think that's key.
So Derek, to get back to Wi-Fi, we see increasingly impressive performance as the 802.11 standard continues to evolve. I'm talking AD and AX. So in this converged network environment that we're working towards, how do you see the role of Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi offload changing?
I think it's important to remember that 80% of traffic goes over Wi-Fi. And the reason why, you can debate that, and I know different people look at that, but one of the reasons why is the simplicity of being able to set up those networks, as well as the ability to have those data bursts when you need them that come with Wi-Fi. The movement to being able to put together multiple channels like you can with 802.11 AC, right? And with AD now getting into gigabit speeds, utilizing additional 60 gigahertz channels, and AX, smarter communication between devices to be able to utilize those channels better. I think all of those things play together to really make Wi-Fi a strong part of the 5G converged network. So everybody that I'm talking to is interested in making Wi-Fi be a part of the overall converged network communications platform, to use your word again there. And I think that you're going to see that movement towards Wi-Fi offload. And it's one of those things everybody talks Wi-Fi offload, what is Wi-Fi offload? And the reality is we're already doing it. 80% of the traffic's doing it. The difference is we're not doing it in clean ways by taking advantage of things like Passpoint and the credentials that you have in your SIM card. So we're going to see a lot of movement towards that, I think, in 2017, because people are starting to realize they're doing it in non-safe ways today, and why not make it safe, seamless, and secure and simple by taking advantage of offloading through Passpoint. And we're big, as you know, proponents of that. Pushing we've shared, our examples with Sprint, and we're excited about the other carriers joining.
So Derek, we're having this conversation on February 1st, and obviously everybody in the industry is gearing up for Mobile World Congress later this month. And I know we're going to get a chance to catch up there, but maybe give us a preview of what the messaging that Boingo is going to bring to MWC this year is.
So we're going to continue our messaging, the kind of I'm sharing here. A lot of it's about just being an advocate for convergence. The networks are converging, the business models are converging, the needs of individuals and the networks being connected are convergent. The machine to machine and the machine to user, they're all converging. So we're going to have to figure out ways to aggregate, all of these multiple spectrums together, all of these multiple technologies together. And that's what we're going to end up sharing. We're coming out with a manifesto that we'll be sharing at Mobile World Congress, which is basically focused around 5 key things. One is embracing the inevitable, that mobile data will continue to skyrocket, so we've got to address these needs. And then exploring the possibilities, and these possibilities are really about convergence and all the different innovations that are happening. Following up by that, we need to count on convergence. It is the future. Setting the stage so that we can end up getting ready. We need to take advantage of NFV, SDN, and all of those different technologies. And then lastly, we only win if we work together as a team. We can't work in our silos, in our individual areas. We've got to work as a whole industry to be able to solve those. So we're real excited about that. The other thing that we're going to be hitting on is really about small cells. We've got our first deployments of small cells done. One of them, like I shared earlier, has both DAS, Wi-Fi, and small cell all working together in the same venue. And we're going to be sharing some information about how well that's working to be able to provide a better connection experience in the venue. And then finally, of course, carrier offload is going to be important for us in 2017. We want seamless integration of all of these networks. And so carrier offload and passpoint are key to that.
Well, Derek, yeah, it really is an important discussion. And I think you're exactly right that it needs to be an industry-wide discussion. And so as that continues, really appreciate you sharing your insights about it.
HetNet Happenings is a production of RCR TV. To reach Sean Kinney or to suggest a show topic for HetNet Happenings, you can reach Sean at skinney@rcrwireless.com. On Twitter at Sean Kinney RCR. To find out more about the latest in HetNet and all things wireless, dig into rcrwireless.com.